I'm going to begin my basket by taking 2 balls of the cream colored yarn, and I'm going to hold those double together. I'm also going to use my J hook, or a 5.75 millimeter crochet hook. So I'm going to go ahead and hold these 2 yarns together with the ends facing myself and the ball end of the yarn laying across the back of my hand. I'm going to bring it forward in between my ring finger and my pinky finger, crossing back over the back of my hand, creating an X. I'm going to slip my hook under the first 2 strands, grabbing the second 2 strands, and then pull them back through under the first 2 strands. This is going to form a loop on your hook, and you're going to grab the second 2 strands again and pull it through this loop on your hook as if you would for a slip stitch. And we've now created our magic ring. We're going to be working directly into this ring. We're going to be making half double crochets right into this ring, and we'll start by making 2 chain stitches, and this is going to bring our yarn up to the height of a half double crochet. Just make note that the chain will not count as a stitch throughout our pattern. Now you can make adjustments to your magic ring, whether you need to tighten it to make it easier to create your stitches around that ring. But we are going to be making 10 half double crochets directly into this ring. And I like to use the magic ring because it makes you able to tighten it down really well, so that you don't have a large hole at the beginning of your base of your basket. And you'll probably want to either try to keep track of your counting as you go, or before you close up your first round, take a count and make sure that you have those 10 stitches. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up my ring to close up my circle and make it so that I can join to my first stitch with a slip stitch. And that's what we're going to do here. Since we're not using our chain as our first stitch, we are going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch and chain 2 to start our next round. Okay, so now I've chained 2, and I'm going to work directly back into that same stitch that I just slip stitched into. That's our first stitch. So this is going to be an increase round, and we are going to accomplish our increase by doing 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So at the end of round 2, we should have a total of 20 half double crochets. Now, because we're using a yarn held double, and it's a thick yarn to begin with, and a smaller than recommended hook for the yarn size, it is going to be tough on your hands, and it's going to be tough to pull your stitches through, and you'll see my hands kind of clenching as I'm working here on this basket, and that's because it is hard to get your stitches to pull through. But don't worry, that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. That's actually what we want. We want this to create a very dense fabric in order to make our basket stand upright and make it a little bit rigid. So go ahead and continue 2 half double crochets into each stitch all the way around. When you reach the end of this round, you're going to join with a slip stitch into the first half double crochet of the round. Once again, we're going to be joining with a slip stitch into our first half double crochet of the round. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to work into that first stitch that we just joined into again, and I am going to make 2 half double crochets into that first stitch. Now in our next stitch, I'm only going to do 1 half double crochet. Once we complete that, we move to the next stitch and we will make the 2 half double crochets into that stitch. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way to the end of the round. So it'll be one stitch has 2 half double crochets in it, the next stitch only has 1 half double crochet in it. And you'll know that your count is correct if you end on a single half double crochet stitch, because we began with 2 half double crochets in one stitch. We will end with only 1, and you will connect to the first stitch of the round with a slip stitch, as we have done on every other round. So this is how we're going to continue increasing on each round to come. And it'll begin with a half double crochet, 2 of them in our first stitch, and then we're going to increase the number of single half crochets in between our increases on each round. So on this one, it is 2 half double crochets in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in the second stitch. On the next round, we'll make that 2 half double crochets, 1 half double crochet, and then 1 half double crochet. And that is worked across 3 stitches. So we're going to finish up this round. Okay, so on this round, I am going to chain 2, 2 half double crochet into my first stitch, one half double crochet into the next stitch, one half double crochet into the next. And that is our repeat for this round. Keep working that all the way to the end and join with a slip stitch. Following the same pattern we've been doing throughout, we are going to chain 2, half double crochet 2 into our first stitch. This time we're going to do 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, one half double crochet into the stitch after that, and 1 half double crochet into the next stitch for a total of 3 half double crochets worked after our increase individually. And we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around until we join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. So again, that is 2 half double crochet into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next, 1 half double crochet into the next, and 1 half double crochet into the next. And you're going to continue in that pattern for another round. On the following round, you are going to keep increasing by 1 that number of half double crochets in between your increased stitches, ending after a total of 6 rounds. So go ahead and complete that, and I'll meet you back here to start working on the sides of our basket. Okay, so now our base is complete, and we have to start making the sides of our basket. We're going to be doing this by working into the 3rd loop of our half double crochet from the previous round. So you can see that the traditional edge of a crochet stitch creates like a little bit of a V. If we look just to the back of that V, we will find the 3rd loop of our half double crochet stitch. And this, you'll find that the stitches actually kind of want to naturally fall that way and show you that 3rd loop right there. So we have the front loop, the back loop, and if you look beyond the back loop, you will see what is the 3rd loop. So we're going to begin with a chain 1, and we are going to single crochet into this 3rd loop. I hope you guys can see this okay. I will put a photo on the blog post, also highlighting where to find the 3rd loop when you're working on this. But you can kind of see here again where we're working at and why we are, because this is going to create a bit of a ridge that'll give a nice differentiation between the base of our basket and what will become the sides of it. It really kind of helps it stand up. So you're going to keep working this single crochet all the way around, joining in the top of the first stitch with a slip stitch, and a chain 1 for the 2nd round. And it's really that simple. It is just working rounds of single crochet. Go ahead and work that for 5 rounds. When we get to round 6, we're going to do a color change. Now, if you do not care to change colors, then just ignore the step where I talk about changing colors and continue in the color that you're using currently. You don't have to change colors if you don't want to, but keep working this way, and I will meet you back here to complete our color change at round 7. Go ahead and work the rest of the round in a single crochet, joining with a slip stitch when you reach the end. Okay, so if you would like to change your color, then finish off round 5, meet me back for round 6, and I will show you how to change colors. At the end of round 5, instead of completing my slip stitch, this is where I'm going to change my yarn for a nice color change. And I'm going to grab my new color, and that is going to be, in my case, this nice mocha color, and I'm going to hold 2 strands together. You're going to insert your hook into the first single crochet of the round that you're working on. But instead of pulling through your cream colored yarn, you're going to make a loop with your new yarn, and you're going to drape that over your hook. And that is what you're going to pull through to create your slip stitch. Now your new color of yarn is attached for your next round. And as you can see, I'm having a little bit of trouble here just because it's bulky and it's tight, and now I've got 4 different strands of yarn here I'm working with. But you want to make sure that everything is pulled nice and snug so that you don't have any holes. And what we're going to do is we're going to carry those tails from our yarn along with us so that we're kind of like weaving them in as we go. So we're going to be crocheting right over top of those tails. So hold it flat against the basket, and you're going to work into your single crochet stitch in the first one that we just slip stitched into. And you're going to make sure to go underneath of those tails and catch your yarn back there and bring it through, and then that way it just buries those tails right in to your work as you go along, so you won't have to worry about sewing in those ends or weaving in those ends. Okay, and you're going to want to work with those behind you for a couple of stitches to make sure that they're secure before you go ahead and fully trim them off. And go ahead and work the rest of the round. I'm going to make 3 rounds in this new color. Once I've completed the 3 rounds, I'll start working on the round that contains our handles. So go ahead and work up to that point, and then I will meet you back, and we're going to make the handles. Now we're ready to work on the handle row. We're going to start with a chain 1, and we're going to single crochet 11 stitches. And there's nothing wrong with double checking your stitch count, because it's going to be important to have the correct stitch count for our handles so that they work up evenly across. After you've crocheted your 11th stitch, we are going to chain 9. We're going to skip 7 stitches, so you want to count 7. And then you're going to start working into the 8th stitch. So you're going to single crochet 23 stitches. Once you've reached 23 single crochet, you're going to chain 9 again and skip the next 7 single crochets. You're going to work into the 8th single crochet, and you're going to single crochet 12 stitches and slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. On this round, we're going to single crochet into each stitch until we get to the handles. Now, when it comes to working the handles, we're going to work into that chain space, effectively chaining, or I'm sorry, stitching right over that handle. Okay, so now you'll see what I mean. You single crochet into that last stitch before you reach the handle chain, and we're going to work right under that handle. And we're going to work 9 single crochet. And what this is going to do is it is going to lift that handle and give it a little bit of an arch. As you can see, I'm working into the chain space. And when you complete your 9 single crochet, you're going to work right back into your single crochet on the main part of the round. I just want to double check here and make sure that I've single crocheted enough into my chain so that my handles are big enough. And then you're going to work the same way all the way around, and you're going to work the same way on your second handle. So for our final round, we're going to be working a slip stitch into each single crochet around the top of our basket. And this is just going to create a finished edge for us. So we're going to be going into a stitch, pulling a loop through, and then pulling it through our loop that was already on the hook. And we're going to work this all the way around the basket and finish out with the slip stitch into the first one that we started in. And then you can tie off and cut your yarn. I'm going to go ahead and show you some more examples of me working this slip stitch, and then I'm going to let you finish the basket on your own. I hope you've enjoyed this pattern and you'll give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll leave a link below that has a link to my website where you'll find the written pattern if you want the written instructions.